I identify as
a blogger,
systems engineer,
as an Ethiopian American.
I identify as a Muslim,
Muslim,
a Muslim,
A Muslim,
as a Muslim,
and I identify as a human being.
Both of my parents are Palestinian nationality-wise. My dad was born in Jerusalem. He was raised there his whole life with his family.
My father is an immigrant Muslim from India. He came in the 70s. He was the first of his family to come.
My mom came to the United States in 1996 from Ethiopia.
My father immigrated from Egypt in the early 90s, and so did my mom. They met in Egypt, and they got married, and they came here.
born and raised in America. However, my parents are Filipino. In 2003, I converted to Islam. Was hanging out with a bunch of people in college. A lot of them were from the Middle East. So my friend, she was dancing. My mouth literally was like on the floor going like, how does she do that? Like that's like physically impossible. The people I frequent around in the circles that I dance in, they accept who I am. I know the fans that I have and the people that view me and appreciate my dancing, they see that he's Muslim, but he's also dancing. He's also gay, and there was never a question of what I was doing, if it was good or bad. If I felt, in my heart that making people happy, because of my dancing, then there's nothing wrong with that.
So my first experience with journalism was actually in high school. As a Muslim reporter covering Islamophobia, my purpose is to combat stereotypes, to provide a space for a community to tell their own stories for once and to tell their own narratives in the ways that they want to tell it. Because I realized that if I wasn't going to do justice by a community that felt so traumatized and felt so wronged by mainstream media, then someone was going to do it for me, and it was probably going to be done poorly. My hope for the future is that when we come to talk about Muslim issues and when we come to talk about Islamophobia, that we're able to approach the topic without generalizations, without brushing broad strokes. We take it for what it is, a complex story that doesn't have a beginning, middle, or end, but one that's ongoing, so as long as people are willing to talk and people are willing to listen.
Growing up, religion was a very important aspect of my life. The reason is, my father, he wanted me to be Muslim. He'd take me to the mosque. And my mom, she would take me to church. So my upbringing, it was like a Neapolitan ice cream. It was like chocolate, vanilla, strawberry. So really, it's like a whole theology degree before I was 13 years old. But growing up, I always felt that I was Muslim. It was simple, I understood it, and it jived with me. Like it made sense. So it wasn't much of a confusion. So I went back to school, became an industrial engineer, got this job as an industrial engineer, and I didn't like it. Something else that I was into at the time is I was into acting. So I started working as an actor in New York City. So I started getting, for more TV show roles, a few commercials. And that's how I came to New York, and that's how I started further pursuing acting as a career.
My scarf was kind of, in a way, was an obstacle of people really getting to know who I was. Because they immediately saw the scarf and they didn't really get to know who I was, but rather just seeing my appearance. That bothered me a lot. I remembered purpose behind it and why it was given to us as Muslim women in terms of respect. And then I realized, okay, I don't really care what people think of me. It's rather how much I feel about myself. I think people are learning to understand that Islam and the culture that are embedded in them is not the same thing. And a lot of the issues that we see with how Islam is perceived in our society or in media is through culture, and people really confusing the difference between the two.
My love for fashion sort of developed later on. It started out with me and my sister seeing a huge gap in the Muslim community when it comes to modest fashion. So we wanted to kind of take matters into our own hands and have an inspiration for other Muslim women. Like in society, there was nothing geared towards Muslim women when it came to clothing and fashion. People in the street, they would compliment us on how we look. That says a lot because our goal was to look trendy and stylish and at the same time identify as Muslim women. I look forward to a future where Muslim women can say what they want, do what they want, and wear what they want, and I'm so proud to be part of that change.
Muslims are cool, radical, Okay, I'm done.
I'm hungry.
Don't worry, we're almost done.
Always-
This is the last part.
Yeah, I know. I'm fine. I'm holding it together. Yeah.